Welcome back to the Watch List. I'm Nicole Petalides. There he is, Dryden Pence, Chief Investment Officer, Pence Capital Management. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing and feeling great, particularly since we saw, I think, 32 record closes for the S&P 500 this year. What say you about what the Fed may do next? What does that mean for the market?
Sure. With regard to the Fed, and by the way, it's great to see you again, and I've missed you. But I think the key point is that because we don't have some of the data, we are wondering what's going on. We look into these things. I think the Fed is probably more likely than not going to continue on their idea of insurance cuts. The cut in September was an insurance cut. They'll probably cut in October. Maybe we'll have data and things open by then. They'll make a decision in December. But we think that given everything that's going on, the Fed's going to continue to do quarter-point cuts. So you can see one or two more in this year. And a lot of it's just based on rather being safe than sorry at this moment.
Understood. So you think the Fed cuts, and are you still feeling bullish? Because the bull market is now 3 years in on October 22nd, I think it is. But that will be 3 years, and do we get a fourth year of a bull market?
I think we do. We're still bullish on this market because the big underlying theme is we still have a lot of the COVID stimulus working its way through the economy, a multiplier effect. We now have a tax and tariff policy that is net stimulus in our view. We have a Fed lowering interest rates at a time when we're not in a recession. So it's going to insurance cuts into growth. So normally when you see that, you see the market actually do exceedingly well. So we're positive going into 2026 just because earnings are at an all-time high, the market's at an all-time high. And you take a look at 2026, earnings are projected to be at an all-time high. So we think the market's going to be at an all-time high. You're going to have some volatility. We see that from time to time, but that's normal. But we're definitely positive going into 2026.
Why aren't people talking about recession?
I think they talk about recession because it's almost, they're trying to play Pygmalion here. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, we haven't had one in a while. We haven't had one in a while. We haven't had one in a while, so we're supposed to have one. But the fundamental issue is that people are forgetting we put $5.4 trillion worth of stimulus into this economy 5 years ago at COVID. That's more money than we put in all of World War II. And the World War II stimulus sustained the economy all the way through like to 74. On a multiplier effect. So that stimulus hasn't gone away. So we have this base of stimulus in the economy and liquidity in the economy that's continuing to push us forward. We're only 5 years out, so I think we probably have another 1 or 2 years to go before that dissipates. And we have policy that seems to be expansive against that. So it's very hard to see a recession anytime soon.
You're a buyer of chips on the dips. I like that. That's catchy. I always say Mag 7 really should be Mag 8. A lot of folks really think Broadcom should be in the Mag 7. Broadcom is a name that you like a lot. Tell me why.
Well, absolutely. We love Broadcom in terms of, for a very long period of time, it's been in our portfolios. We like the company because it's really the picks and shovels, the fundamentals of a lot of the technology that goes into this. And when you take a look at all of the chips that they do, they really dominate the custom design chips for companies that need to move forward. Nvidia kind of dominates the GPU space. Broadcom dominates the space where companies are needing a chip that is specified to a specific need, things that are going to increase their labor productivity, and they pretty much dominate that market. So you had this continual industrial need for what Broadcom has, and we think that that's got very, very long legs.
All right. I know you have Taiwan Semi and ASML as well. Tell me about those names, why you like them.
Sure. If you think of Nvidia as the choke point to AI, TSMC is the choke point to Nvidia, and ASML is the choke point to TSMC. All these companies are absolutely necessary if we're moving forward with this continued expansion of the infrastructure of AI. And when you take a look at TSMC, the amount of CapEx that's going into this, companies, they count for like 1/3 of the cost of goods sales, of cost of goods sold rather, of both Nvidia and AMD. So TSMC is definitely integrated in this. They're dominant in this. You see all these buildings being built and hyperscalers. It's a TSMC chip in most of them. And then for TSMC to be able to do what it's got to do, you have to have ASML, because ASML has a pretty much a monopoly on the extreme ultraviolet light lithography machines that create these very, very specified chips that have the capacity to do all the things that we're asking AI to do. So if you look at this supply chain of the satisfaction of this demand, you have three very essential companies, and each of those have to play along with each other. ASML is essential to TSMC. TSMC is essential to Nvidia. Then you look at Broadcom, which is there for the rest of the enterprise and things that they have to do. So all of these companies have tremendous demand for what they do going forward. And so even in a market that could get a little frothy, even in a market that could get a little ahead of itself in the AI world, the fundamentals beneath all of that are supporting these three companies exceedingly well.
I have to presume you think they're going up, I don't know, at least 20% in the next year or two or three. Is that right? I mean, I want to ask you about the supply chain and jobs. So just, I mean, the up arrow here is evident to you, 10, 20, 30%. Is that fair?
I think if earnings are going to grow that fast, then the market's going to grow that fast. So I think that we're projecting earnings doing exceedingly well, and I don't think that that's unreasonable. Hard to put a hard number on it, but I think that you look at if earnings are going to grow that fast, then the pricing is going to grow that fast, and we see that expansion going forward. And you were talking about...
Are you worried about jobs? I mean, we know that the AI supply chain really should help productivity, and it's like dominoes, as you said, ASML to Taiwan Semi to Nvidia, they're connected. Where does it fit in with the labor picture? Are you worried about the labor picture, how AI changes it?
Exactly. So here's where it's changing it right now. You have about 5% more unemployment in college-educated graduates than you do anywhere else. So the labor situation is getting distorted, and really what it comes down to is the company's going, great, I need to hire somebody, but before I go out and hire an intern, or before I go out and hire a entrance employee, why don't I see if AI can do it? If AI can do that particular job first and better and cheaper, then I can put off employing a college graduate or an entry-level employee. So I think we're in this discovery mechanism of just how effective AI can be in labor productivity, and it's going to hit the employment of entry-level people, and that's what we're seeing. And so it's tough to be a college grad right now because you're not competing against other college grads, you're competing against AI, and that's difficult. But I think that over time that's going to sort itself out a little bit. But I think that that's the distortion that we see, not in the older levels or in the different skill levels, but in the entry-level positions. AI is going to affect the unemployment rate.
Dryden Pence, Chief Investment Officer of Pence Capital Management. Great to see you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.